Okay, it's the next day. And I'm going to take a little bit of a look-see here. The majority of the coating is off. If you can see that okay, it's not going to focus. The top part, no coating. Side part, still a little bit of coating. Which is, yeah, that should be okay. However, I'm going to try something which I haven't done before, and I don't know if I like the idea. I'm going to do two options. I'm going to try doing these, possibly, as a second option. Or maybe a first. I'm not sure. We've got these, but I had quite a thought, which is a little bit dangerous. And I'm thinking, grind the tops off these flat, put a bit more of a V in these, and then actually put a bead of weld down the middle, and then machine these in, because I haven't got the appropriate length, size, or top head thickness to match this here. And these are the original bolts. If I repair these, I think it's just going to be a better job, to be honest. Okay, so yeah, I have cleaned these up. I've welded up the slots as best I can. Now, the first one I did was this one, which I probably had the settings a little bit too high. Now, what I will say is using a stick welder for something like this isn't the best. You know, I'm no expert especially, but if it was me and if I had the equipment, I would TIG weld those in. And you'll be able to just blob a middle bit and then just kind of fuse it into the gap. It's a bit like a sledgehammer and putting a picture frame on the wall type. It's not the right tool for the job. Certainly not the right tool for the job with my talent, to be honest. Just being honest with you. Now these are usable, and I still really want to go down this route and keep it original. I'm gonna file the slots in. My logic is I have got a milling machine, but most of you probably haven't. So I'm gonna use a file to start off with and see what they're like. To be honest, the point of where I am at the moment is I'm not that confident with these at the minute. I'm not too happy with them. They're not giving me the fuzz. I'm not enjoying these, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll proceed on, see how we go. Okay, these right here look terrible. This, however, is not as terrible. So I think this is what we're going to go with. They're not perfect. Okay, so we have 5 bolts machined. 5, you ask? Well, somebody wasn't paying much attention. So these should be around 1240, between 12.4 and 12.5. So I kind of just went for, you know, a mean average there, 12.8. What's this one here? Okay. That's 12.57, that's a little oversized. That's the undersized one, which is why I recut it, and then this is the one that I've just done, which is 12.4, 12.5-ish. Yeah, around that sort of size. So that one's, I might just chuck that back in, and yeah, I'm going to chuck that one back in just so we've got them all the same. Okay, that is my OCD taken care of, so we're now within tolerance. Happy days. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the compound, change the angle to what I think is around 60-ish degrees. We'll see. Okay, I've just had a little bit of a comparison and they are roughly the same, which is good. I'm not sure if it is 30 degrees. However, we have a very, very nice flush. Well, almost flush. Just need to take off a little bit more. It's quite hard for me to have a proper reading off this because there's the screw. I don't know if I've still got a was beveled on the edge, but we're nearly there. I'm not going to record all of this because it's pretty boring. You've seen the setup. This is what I need to do. So let's go for that. And we're back. They went really well. We've now got 4 right size, but they don't work. The reasoning, as we mentioned before, they need to be BSF. These are M8. Now, I've just stumbled across my next problem, which is I don't have a die holder for one this size, I don't think. So I'm either going to have to adapt this or do something really redneck, and I don't really want to do that. And I know what you're thinking. But if I just welded these on, it would work. Okay, whilst we are just cleaning everything up, let's go through some of the history here. So, evidence suggests that the Vise was first introduced from 1929, and the last catalogue number that we can kind of find is October of 1970, which is when we last kind of saw these being made. Now, the earlier ones had a few nice features on there, which carried on right up until the end, but one of the big points with the earlier versions was they were fully cast steel bodies. The later ones became cast iron, and that's one of the big difference with the detachable Vise jaws. So what they include is a swivel base, a offset jaws permitting vertical holding, a hardened steel anvil at the back, pipe jaws, a rod bender at the front and a pipe bender, fibre grips for the vices, although mine's missing those, but they're easily to be found. And it had a jaw width of 4 inches and a total opening of 4 inches. So I hope that history was a bit of use for you. The sources are all found online. I'll link to some of those within the description. Workshop James is just explaining that the top anvil, he was finding it very difficult to remove that top piece, and I can't actually see if it was removable in the earlier ones. In the later ones, I believe it was, but I don't think that is removable.
I can't do it.
Now you know when it's an earlier one, when it says on the side, the patent pending, which is the version before this one, and it has the removable pipe jaw that usually looks like a cut-out section, whereas this is like a mid-early one, if that makes sense. So later ones didn't have the auto Vise writing on, the fancy-looking writing, and they were cast iron bodies with a steel replaceable pipe jaw. Okay, back to workshop, James. So we're now starting to get ready for painting, but before that, what we want to do is just remove some of these apprentice marks, whatever you want to call them. I'm all for casting marks. I'm not going to go to that extreme, but something like this Vise, you know, probably the extra mile does help. So all these marks here, what we're going to do is get a file, take off the tops of these, and then use some pretty good, it's called dolphin glaze, so you'd see body shop guys using this for, you know, like small tiny little pinholes, or they've just done, you know, it's effectively a very expensive body filler that's self-leveling, blah 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 blah, direct to metal. Yeah, it's nice stuff. It goes a lot harder, if that makes sense, a lot more harder than your typical, you know, cheap body filler. So I'm going to use this, going to give this a go. I haven't used this in a long time. I'm hoping it's still okay. But something like this, it lasts you ages. You shouldn't use a lot of this. And obviously it's nothing structural. I'm just wanting to make the sliding and the fixed jaw just look as best as I possibly can. Let's see how it goes.
The next day.
Okay, back to it. We filled these last night. We let them dry and harden overnight. We've masked everything up where we need to, which is good. I've got this on the rotary, what do you call it, the potter's wheel, I'm going to call it, it's potter's wheel. So we can spray this and turn it round. We have our extractor fan running, which is working good. Everything that needed to be polished up has, so we've got quite a nice finish on a lot of the other items. That's not meant to be painted. Some people have painted the meatball. We shouldn't be painting that. Next we're going to cut these threads, and this was also painted, but that wasn't original. That shouldn't have been painted. It turns out I own a die holder, and I forgot about it. This is my BA set that I bought years ago. So yeah, let's cut these next. Whilst we're doing that, we're going to paint these. We're going to primer them up. We're going to etch primer, then flatten, then top coat, then top coat, then top coat. Not going to lacquer. Now, my biggest concern is the paint that I've bought. We're in the middle of the coronavirus. I will say it one more time. It's not the usual paint that I'd buy. I am going to be using spray paint for this. The reasoning behind it is to actually paint this with a brush with boat paint or coach enamel, which is what I've done in the past. There's a lot of intricate parts, and if you go over with a roller or you use a paintbrush, it's going to have a really uneven finish, which I'm not too fond on, especially when it's lettering like this. when we did the number 25, which was coach enamel, which the paint has lasted really well. I mean, it's, you know, it is dirty, but it has done a really good job. But you know, all this is rollable, so you don't need to, you know, you don't need to spray this. You can just roll it on and it works really well. But yeah, we're not going to do it on this one, so we're going to see how it goes. This is my biggest fear because I don't know how good this paint is. A lot of red paint turns out pink and it's not going to be great, but it's the best I can do this time of the world. So we'll see how we go, and if we don't like it, I don't know what I can do. Let's go from there. This is a little bit OTT, but I want to have the best possible finish that I can on these, so we're going to be preheating the parts. You know, these don't have to be hot or anything, they just need to be warm. It's not the warmest of day at the minute, but I'm going to be trying this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch multi-purpose paint. That's never a good thing, but we shall see. Cherry red, I wanted post box red, so I'm just going to do a sample, I think, here. But you want to shake these until the rattling stops. Shake until the rattle stops, and then I'm going to preheat these as well, so everything's at kind of a warmer temperature than what we're at the moment. I can't give you an idea of temperature because I have no idea. I just want to make these a little bit warmer than they are. You know what I mean. Okay, 1 coat etch primer, 2 coats primer. Now we'll do top coat and see how it looks. It's really thin, so this is probably going to take about 4 or 5 coats. We don't want any dripping or any build-up away from the writing, so this is something to just take your time, and it's really tempting to put a load of paint on. Don't do that. What you want to be doing is just dusting it, like throwing dust. That's all you want. Okay, let's leave it 10 minutes and then do another coat. You know, people pay a bloody fortune to get their nails done. It's only cost me £8 for a can of spray paint. Look at that. Beautiful. Wear gloves. My bad. Okay, next job is, whilst the paint is still drying, I've just trimmed all these down and just put a chamfer on the edge. I've just degreased them and I'm going to blue these using gun blue. I'll be honest, I've never used this stuff before, so I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to pour it in and kind of see what happens here. Okay, they've gone black. Awesome. Now what I'll do is I'll read the instructions to see what I need to do. Covered by liquid, 1/2 inch wide. To wipe over the surface of the metal with short strokes. The metal will slowly darken and will take about 3 minutes. Yeah, same as me. Occasional brush over. Brilliant. Okay. Let's leave these for 3 minutes and come back when she's done. Okay, whilst these are in a blue world, I'm just going to show you here. I've just put the final coat on and she's looking good. I'll just prop this in a vise to give it a bit of a preheat. Here is the fixture. It's a bit shiny, but we'll soon sort that. What to say with the colour? I'd say the colour is excellent. I'd say the paint is average. very thin, like most spray cans are, and the nozzles chuck out a lot of paint for really thin, so you've got to, you know, dusting. Remember dusting. But no, I'm pleased with the finish. It looks pretty good. There's a bit of orange peel on there, but heating up the parts, getting those nice and warm with the paint warm as well. Yeah, it works. Even on a warm day, you want to warm the parts up. Nice. Okay, it has been 3 minutes, so I'm going to just take all of these out of here. And I'm going to put them in another container, and then it says rinse them out in water, which is what I'm going to do now. Come back, and I'm going to take a shot of oil. That's what they look like. Okay, I've rinsed them off, and now it says to use their own brand, but I've just put some whey oil around there, and we'll use that later anyway. So I'll leave them for a little bit. I think they say about an hour, so I'm going to go get some lunch, and we'll come back when the paint is fully, well, semi-hardened, and when they're all oiled up.